Oh, you're here. Good. I was hoping for company. You see, I've got stories, dark ones, chilling ones, the kind that keep you up at night. Mythical creatures, curses, horrors you can't escape. Shall we begin? Don't worry, I won't bite. Much.
This story takes place in a remote mountain village, where a young woodcutter named Lin Feng lived. He made his living by chopping wood. Although his life was hard, he was kind-hearted and always ready to help others in the village, earning everyone's respect and affection. One day, while Lin Feng was chopping wood in the mountains, he stumbled upon an old, dilapidated temple hidden deep in a dense forest. The forest was dense with tall trees, their branches tangled, letting in very little sunlight. Just a few rays of sunlight made it through, scattering patterns of light on the ground. The air was damp with the scent of earth, and distant bird calls echoed through the woods, mingling with the low sound of wind whistling through the trees as if whispering secrets. The temple had clearly been abandoned for years. Moss covered the steps, vines crept up the walls, and deep cracks ran through the structure, making it look like it could collapse at any moment. The creaking door groaned as Lin Feng pushed it open, sending a cloud of dust into the air. Inside, there was an unusual statue. The statue's face was weathered and blurred from age, but its hollow eyes seemed to follow every movement. There was a faint smell of incense hanging in the air, making the place feel creepy. Just as Lin Feng was about to leave, he heard a faint sobbing sound. Following the noise, he found a white fox lying on the ground beside the statue. The fox's body was covered in wounds, and it looked like it was on the brink of death. Feeling a surge of pity, Lin Feng decided to take the fox home and nurse it back to health. In the following days, the fox gradually recovered. Lin Feng took great care of it, cleaning its wounds, applying herbal remedies, and catching small rabbits and gathering wild fruits to feed it. The fox's once dull eyes began to shine, and its fur grew sleek and glossy again. One night, after Lin Feng had fallen asleep, he was startled awake by the sound of light footsteps in his room. He sat up and saw the fox standing by his bed, staring directly at him. To his astonishment, the fox transformed into a beautiful woman and began to speak.
Lin Feng, thank you for saving my life,
the fox said softly.
I am not an ordinary fox, but a fox spirit who was cultivated for 1,000 years. Centuries ago, I was guided by a kind monk who showed me the path to enlightenment. I traveled far and wide, absorbing the essence of heaven and earth until I achieved human form. But recently, I was ambushed by a group of hunters who injured me with poisoned arrows, forcing me to revert to my original form. I barely escaped with my life. To repay your kindness, I wish to give you a treasure.
With that, the fox spirit took out a simple wooden box and handed it to Lin Feng.
This is the cloak of shadows,
she explained.
When you wear it, you will become invisible to the world. No one will be able to see you. But heed my warning. While this cloak can aid you, it must never be used for evil. The consequences will be dire, and you will regret it deeply.
Though Lin Feng was puzzled, he accepted the box. When he opened it, he found a black cloak as light as a feather. By the time he looked up again, the fox spirit had disappeared. The next day, Lin Feng tried on the cloak, and just as the fox spirit had said, his reflection vanished from the mirror. At first, he used the cloak for good deeds, such as secretly delivering firewood to poor villagers. But over time, the cloak's power began to stir greed in his heart. He thought, now that I have this treasure, why should I stay poor? I can do whatever I want. Driven by greed, he began using the cloak to commit immoral acts, such as stealing money from wealthy people. Before long, Lin Feng left the village and moved to the city, where he bought a grand house and told everyone he was a wealthy merchant who had made his fortune in the silk trade. He claimed to have trading connections across many towns and boasted of his rapid success. As time passed, rumors of an invisible ghost began to circulate in the city. Lin Feng's greed grew unchecked, and one day he decided to use the cloak to break into the county treasury to steal government silver. That night, Lin Feng put on the cloak and easily slipped into the treasury. He opened the door without a sound and gleefully began filling his bag with silver. But just as he was about to leave, a cold laugh echoed through the room.
"Do you think no one can see you?"
A deep voice said from the darkness. Terrified, Lin Feng turned around and saw a tall figure shrouded in black mist standing before him. "This is the curse of the Fox clan," the figure said.
"Those who misuse the fox's treasures will pay the ultimate price."
As the words fell, the cloak suddenly became scorching hot. Lin Feng felt as if his entire body was being consumed by flames. His skin burned with excruciating pain, and he struggled to remove the cloak, but his hands no longer obeyed him. It was as if he were bound by an invisible force. His vision blurred, and memories of his life flashed through his mind. The smiling faces of the villagers, the fox spirit's warning, and his own insatiable greed. Letting out one last scream, he felt the cloak fall off his body. Lin Feng felt himself becoming weightless, his feet lifting off the ground, as his body dissolved like a wisp of smoke into the air. His shadow flickered on the floor for a moment before vanishing completely, as though he had never existed. From that day on, no one in the village or the city ever saw Lin Feng again. Some said the fox spirit took him as punishment. Others believed he became a wandering wind, forever warning people near the temple.